Hey YouTube, Brandon Ascari here with another awesome and insightful episode of Ascari Digital's Content Creator Academy, where, as you know, it is my goal to help educate and inspire you to being the best and most successful freelancer that I know you can be. Today we're going to be talking about some news that we found in film that I think is imperative to your learning and moving forward in our industry. So, without further ado, let me switch to 4 eyes mode and let's start talking about the news. All of a sudden, I have glasses. What do you know? So today we're going to be looking at our first article, which is about filmmaking trends you need to know in 2020. If you're still thinking about your New Year's resolutions, make sure that you know where you'll land and know the filmmaking trends of the year. 2020 has already arrived, ushering in a new rocky year in what already feels like a dystopian new decade. Ironically enough, this was in late January. As a filmmaker, it is crucial that you know the world around you and feed on it to create. It is also crucial that you know what is happening in the world so that you know what you're working with as a professional. You also need to follow the trends of the world so that you know how your creations will interact with the world. Let's look at the trends of this year as established by the JWT Intelligence Group. Has anyone heard of them? I haven't. That you need to keep track of as an independent filmmaker. Optimistic futures. There's no denying that we live in insane times. Entertainment set in dystopias has flourished, and reading the news even at a glance feels like an anxiety attack. And yet, there is cause for optimism. These times have compelled people to be honest, expressive, and to connect. Perhaps the ultimate act of defiance in this day and age is to manifest what we aspire to be a better future and to help bring it about. While creativity is a way to decipher the world, who else has gone on a documentary binge on Netflix? It is also a means of expression, and formulating visions of better worlds may be the most opportunistic thing to do. Data creatives. Given the amount of data that we produce on a daily basis, it's no wonder that conversations are starting to happen around how we should use it, who owns it, and how do people capitalize on their data. Netflix has been ahead of the game as their decisions to greenlight a project are entirely decided on the data they've gathered on consumer behavior. So basically what they're saying is, how can we use research and data that we've been given or that we could find on the internet, such as Google and other search engine sites, to use this to our ability on what videos we should do. It's very popular, especially when we're creating YouTube content. A lot of times we will search and look for what's trending on YouTube, what is currently getting 1 million hits or something like that, and we will use that to decide, well, what video should we make next? Except me, I don't usually do that, and that's probably why I don't get that many views. But it's okay, I want to make the content that I want to make. Into the multiverse. While we are seriously considering that the world as we know it may be ending, we are starting to look for alternative worlds. Not unlike the 2014 masterpiece Interstellar. We are imagining entire new worlds where humans could set up camp and how we could create plausible utopias for the human race to progress to. This fascination for other worlds is as old as stories themselves, and only recently tales such as new adaptations of Alice in Wonderland, Interstellar, by way of quantum physics, and Stranger Things, The Upside Down, have explored those possibilities. This fascination makes this year and decade the best possible time to create visions of new horizons. And who better than filmmakers to conjure up new worlds? It is up to us with our creativity to go out there and imagine what the future is going to look like. But doing this with green screen and sci-fi has never been easier before. So it is actually a really good opportunity for us to start doing these like sci-fi masterpieces and starting to imagine new places and worlds, because the ability to do so with technology has never been better. Scientific expeditions. A whole new market in the travel sector has opened up in recent years, going on a scientific expedition for your holidays. As there is more and more awareness of man-made climate change, it seems that there is a greater aspiration to understand the world that we live in and its precious, glorious, ever-evolving ecology. This need to understand our world has been a factor in the rise of documentaries in recent years. In the UK, David Attenborough films have been massive cultural events. So isn't there a better time for documentary filmmakers and perhaps VR filmmakers to hop on board and continue to make us discover the wonders of the world? Basically what this is saying is if you're thinking about doing documentaries in 2020 and beyond, now is probably the best time to make a documentary in 2020 and beyond, because they've never been more popular than they are today. Especially in Netflix, Hulu, Amazon, PBS, you'll see them everywhere. So it could be a great opportunity for documentary filmmakers to make films about things that are concerning our world, our economy, the other worlds out there, what's happening. These are things that could be vital moving forward and help progress you in your career. The new super creatives. If the millennial generation was considered to be digital native, brace yourselves for Generation Z. Not ready. The demographic aged 13 to 22 has grown up surrounded by tech and will unlock unforeseen potentials within it. They will know how to make hyperconnectivity, constant sharing, and fluid creative expression an asset. Those unprecedented levels of access to knowledge and newfound abilities to create powerful networks will bring about massive changes. We're heading into a world with a new way to create and consume media. Connections are formed as easily as they are undone. Identity and expression are no longer constants, but variables. Polish sociologist Zygmunt Bauman theorized a liquid society, where what was once immovable and clearly defined becomes a flux and becomes defined by its newfound state. This is basically just saying that we have to usher in the new generation. The Gen Z are finally going to start taking over the creative world, which I'm sure they will. That's definitely not up for debate, but we'll see what that brings. I really don't know. What are your filmmaking trends? Those factors and 95 other trends highlighted in JWT's report make for a scary and fascinating world. Creatives of all stripes will need to catch up and lean into the patterns that are forming for this new year and decade. We may have started this year with fears that World War III was upon us. Let us not forget that at the same time we are inventing new ways of living. We may be making them up as we go along, but they also speak to how people live and what they aspire to. This is where creative people can meet their audiences. In a world saturated with images, it falls upon filmmakers, innovative, independent-minded artists, to create our new horizons, and the world only spins forward. I think that was an interesting article. It wasn't exactly what I was expecting. I thought it was going to be more about like, oh, well, we're going to be using this type of lighting now. We make music videos this way. But it wasn't. Interesting either way. Let's take a look at our next article. Great time to try. 5.5 ways to make a movie masterpiece at home. Interesting. Isolation is a common theme in cinema. Stranded on an island, Castaway. In space, Gravity of the Martian. On a boat, Life of Pi. Stuck in the desert, 127 Hours. Or simply confined to an apartment, Rear Window. Great movie. But what about when the filmmakers themselves are stranded? Oh no, we're stranded. I thought I could do everything. Luckily, most of us are carrying sophisticated cameras in our pockets and have easy access to online film libraries and creative collaborations. As psychoanalytic approaches to filmmaking reveal, our screens have a unique ability to see beyond reality. Our screens reach into the deepest depths of our desires, fantasies, and emotional landscapes. Here are 5 approaches to filmmaking that can challenge our perception of the world from the discomfort of your own home. Video diary. And this isn't referring to YouTube vlogging nor the diary room confessional of Big Brother, but a visual rendition of expressive journal keeping. Avant-garde filmmaker Jonas Mekas pioneered the film diary in the 1960s by experimenting with the camera's limits, incorrect exposure, disorderly movement, rearranging time, and injecting a poetic voice. The challenge here is to portray your inner experience and not let the recording device simply capture it. If diaristic wanderings prove difficult, Gillian Leahy's My Life Without Steve is a beautiful example of what can be achieved in a single apartment. The reflective narration from protagonist Liz guides us through an emotional turmoil, memory, and theories of lost love. Additionally, the meticulous still life compositions by cinematographer Erica Addis, entirely restricted to the apartment space, offer an intimacy and familiarity beyond words. Streetlights dancing on the water, a steaming kettle, floral wallpaper. I think this is interesting talking about the idea of doing a video diary. I think it's very powerful, especially if you have projects that are very personal to you. I did a video diary for a project that I was going to be working on, which was a documentary that was near and dear to my heart. So for me, being able to just record myself opening up about the story, that actually helped me when I was ready to go into production to further that story. So I agree with that wholeheartedly, that variations of video diaries could be very beneficial to you in your career. This particular way of like making an actual film out of it, I'd have to see it. I think it could work. It would be very interesting. You could make at-home little documentaries, I think would be interesting, but let's move forward. Location, home. Sometimes the location can be more significant than the person. This is certainly the case in films documenting imprisonment, such as Burroughs Buchanan's experience of Manus Island Detention Center in Chaka, Please Tell Us the Time, or Jahar Panahi's discreet autobiography, This Is Not a Film, recorded under house arrest in Iran. In 2015, the Wolfpack told the unusual tale of 7 brothers confined to an apartment in New York with Hollywood movies as their window onto the world. Isolation offers an opportunity to interrogate the politics of home. The 1970s feminist movement gave rise to scathing critiques of gender-based domestic roles. Martha Rosler's video art performance, Semiotics of the Kitchen, has inspired generations of classroom appropriations. The crude infomercial-inspired performance undermined both the authority of the camera and the kitchen as a space of domination. Very interesting. Chantal Ackerman's Jan Dielman 23 Quai du Commerce 1080 Bruxelles Guide, also released in 1975, offers a less obvious subversion of domesticity. The protagonist is a single mother undertaking sex work as part of her daily routine to provide for her child. Rather than sensationalizing prostitution, the camera respectfully captures the subtle gestures and emotions of the working mother. Very interesting. I do see what they're saying. I don't know if the films specifically have to go in that route, but having a home as a location sets up for a million different stories. A lot of them being like relationship dramas, which essentially in some form or another those are, speaking about, you know, home roles. It could be family films, it could be getaways, like you could pretend the house is an Airbnb or something. So there's a lot of options for using your home as a location, depending. Like I have a really cool short crawl space underneath the house, and that actually looks like a frickin' prison. So we could I've thought about using that as some, you know, type of like somebody's trapped in the house and we decided to throw them in the crawl space. And that would be pretty cool. Maybe coming soon to YouTube, depends. Online collaboration. Collaborative media comes in many forms: participatory video, citizen media, user-generated and crowdsourced content. Collaborative approaches to filmmaking were pioneered by visual anthropologists attempting to accurately and ethically record foreign cultures. Handing the camera over was seen as a way to access insider knowledge. YouTube and Instagram could be considered large-scale collaborative media projects. Thank you. More coherent and meaningful projects focus on a particular theme or creative parameter. User-generated content, UGC, and fan-based creations have since become common to the genre, such as the Johnny Cash Project, Shrek Retold, Man with a Movie Camera, the global remake. Joseph Gordon-Levitt's hit record is one of the most innovative UGC platforms with more than 750,000 contributors and the opportunity to get paid if the production makes money. By investing in personal contributions, the audience gains a sense of proprietorship over the project and boosts distribution through their social networks. The best examples of collaborative media are highly curated and elaborately produced. The National Film Board of Canada, NFB, and Katerina Sizek have produced a series of ambitious multimedia compilations under the High-Rise projects. Of these projects, Out My Window is perhaps the most relevant to our current experience, featuring 13 participants from around the globe sharing personal stories from their high-rise homes. Very interesting. I do believe that collaboration is one of the keys to success. Films are not usually made with just one person by themselves. You need somebody in front of the camera, somebody behind the camera. You need somebody to pull focus for you, you need somebody to record sound. There's a million different moving parts to a film, and I think that they cannot be created completely by yourself. Is it possible to create some films completely on your own? Yes, it totally is. But I think when you add collaboration into the environment in any way, shape, or form that you can, it is only to the benefit of the project itself. So anytime that you're able to collaborate, whether it's with a fellow YouTuber, whether it's with a fellow filmmaker, classmate, something like that, I think you should take advantage of that because it's only going to add to your portfolio and expand your creativity as a filmmaker. Found footage. Ooh, fun. Found footage documentaries are composed entirely from existing media. Hit up those stock footage libraries, boom, go for it. Done. Make a film. The recent surge in this genre, such as Apollo 2, Maradona, Amy, and The Final Quarter about footballer Adam Goods, all demonstrate that filmmakers need not touch a camera to produce a cinematic masterpiece. Let's face it, found footage and stock footage usually looks better than what we're shooting anyway. While we may not individually be able to acquire rights to copyrighted material, most of us are unwittingly accumulating extensive media archives of our lives. The popular 1 second everyday app demonstrates how existing phone footage can be transformed into a revealing and enthralling sequence through rhythm-based montage. Very interesting. I've never heard of this app. We should check it out. Last but not least, Machinima. Machinima, machine cinema, is an innovative alternative to animation in which detailed 3D graphic engines of computer games are used as cinematic stages. Most of the productions in this genre mimic mainstream comedy and action, but there are a few examples of how the art form can interrogate our relationship to virtual worlds. Nominated for the Weird category of the Webby Awards for Online Excellence, the narrator of Grand Theft Auto, Pacifist, navigates the ultra-violent game world understood as an extension of our lived society in a hilarious experiment to see if he can exist peacefully. But be warned, the first person I knew to go down the Machinima path disappeared without a trace for 2 months, lost to the World of Warcraft. I'm not very familiar with Machinima. I don't really know anything about these 3D graphic engines of computer games and such. I do know that it is possible to combine them into like cameras and use it to key out green screen. Very interesting stuff. But as far as animation goes, that's been around since the dawn of time, so I get that. I would like to see specifically what they're talking about to dive into that even more. And the half, since it's not for everyone. Lastly, my half recommendation. While not something I can recommend to students, during this, never mind, this is going to be about erotica. We don't have to talk about that, but if it's for you, more power to you, have fun. Anyway, if you have any questions or comments about some of the news articles that we talked about, please leave a comment down below. Don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, hit that notification bell so you can know every Monday and Wednesday when our episodes air live. And in the meantime, my name is Brandon Ascari from Ascari Digital's Content Creator Academy. And in the meantime, I will see ya!